Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today, I have something very special to share with you. Before we get into this upload, though, a couple links I'd like to share. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch store to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Those links are in the description below. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook version. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. They're available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. The links to those audiobooks are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload. Shall we? 1999 Battle Mountain, Nevada fire, possible government cover-up. In a letter dated the 7th of August, 1999, Battle Mountain, Nevada, the anonymous government employee states, I observed an animal wounded by fire, moving on all fours, not like a bear, more like an ape. Firefighters captured the animal, contacted local vet and medical doctor, U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, Department of Interior, and Bureau of Land Management on the scene. Animal tranquilized and moved to an unknown location. Those at the scene were told not to talk about what they saw. Animals approximately 7.5 feet long/tall, human-like arms and legs, face not like a man or an ape, but mixed between. Genitalia, male, uncircumcised and human-like. Hair covered most of the body except chest. Chest has hair but sparse. Hands with sparse hair, palms bare. With 5 digits, with human opposition of thumb, and 5th digit. Multiple burns. Speech. Attempted to communicate with caregivers once it realized they were attempting to care for it. Multiple burns on hands, feet, legs, and body, some 2nd and 3rd degree burns, using rule of 9s, approximately 45% of the body with burns. Doctor and vet worked together, providing care, and moved it to an unknown location locally. This notice is in violation of orders given by BLM, DOI, and DF and W. Witnesses numbered in the area of 30/25. Word is out in the government agencies and among the firefighters since an MD was called out. Many thought a firefighter was injured. Please note that I am a government employee of one of the listed agencies fighting brush fires in the wilderness areas of Nevada. Large-scale fire, approximately 70,000 acres burned, and under orders not to disclose information, protected area. I believe a cover-up is in the making. People need to know the animal needs to be kept alive and studied and released in a protected area. Not knowing what to believe, and on top of that, they had been unable to verify that there had been a fire on Battle Mountain area. Investigator, late Monday, August 9th. I was finally able to determine from Forest Service sources that there was most certainly a large range fire in this area of Nevada. The Battle Mountain Complex fire had extended to 180,000 acres by Monday and had 610 personnel fighting it at the time. Nothing else was heard from the witness despite email attempts to reach him. Then, some 10 days after the initial report, the witness contacted the investigator by phone. Here is parts of the report that the investigator prepared after speaking with the witness. Strict anonymity. Much to my surprise, tonight at about 9 p.m., the reporting party of Battle Mountain incident collared me. I talked with the gentleman for about 70 minutes. Although he is maintaining strict anonymity, I was able to put together a bit of a profile of the individual. This fella, whom I give the pseudonym Marty, is a male full-time worker for a federal agency. Currently, he is involved in a joint firefighting efforts in Nevada. He has extensive EMT training and experience. He says that until this incident, he had seen it all in firefighting, and these days he stays mostly in the truck manning the radio. He is friendly, but not effusive. He is intelligent, likable, and fairly observant, but he isn't outstandingly articulate. He is matter-of-fact, low-key, seen-it-all kind of guy. Very tired. His regular duties may be in personnel, as he mentioned that tomorrow he would be seeing the MD involved in this incident about other matters regarding firefighting crews. It was obvious during the conversation that he was very tired. Our talk ended with Marty saying he had to get to bed and get some rest. Approximately 20 people were in the immediate vicinity of the incident. All were debriefed and informed in no certain terms that this incident was not to be discussed. There has not been a word about the incident at the BLM fire headquarters. He is very concerned about keeping his job. He says he would not look forward to taking a lie detector test. He created an email address exclusively for reporting this incident. Absolute privacy. Although I had originally encouraged him to call me, this lengthy call was on him, so he could maintain absolute privacy. He is reopening the incident because he believes the information should get out. We agreed, in any future communication, to use the term patient to describe Sasquatch. I will use it here. The incident happened in early afternoon. About 20 firefighters were directly involved. The injured patient apparently wandered within sight of the fire crew and was then surrounded. The patient seemed to know that he was captured because he soon gave up. Marty mentioned this several times. He just gave up. The patient sat down on his buttocks, giving no evidence of a will to resist. Like a dog gives up, and then you can do anything with it. Singed hair. The patient was laid out on the ground at first. His injuries were rather serious, including burns to the hands, feet, legs, and trunk, as well as much singed hair. It didn't take long for medical services to get to the scene. The attending medical team included the regular MD for the fire crews, a vet that Marty did not recognize, and one or more paramedics. The vet was taken aback at working on the creature so human-like, and he is reported to have allowed the physician to do most of the work. At some point, Demerol and morphine were administered. The patient was placed on a spine board, which was too small. He was then placed on a regular ambulance stretcher. The sides were left down because part of the body hung over too far. The feet hung off the end. Bowel sounds. A cut down was performed to obtain an intravenous line, and fluids were administered. During the treatment of his wounds and efforts at life support, the patient communicated with moans, groans, and grumbling. Bowel sounds were heard by Marty, who was as close as 3 feet from the patient. No language-like vocalizations were heard. The patient responded to touch, specifically patting and stroking to calm him. You are not going to find an ape or monkey responding the same way. 2 or 3 times Marty mentioned the patient was especially responsive to a young Native American woman who started ministering to him right from the very beginning. The patient was removed from the scene in the back of a utility truck, not an ambulance. Marty said the ambulance would have alerted townsfolk and possibly news reporters, thinking that a firefighter had been injured. No one would follow a nondescript van. Total time from initial sighting to extraction was estimated at 3 hours. Blood was leaking. There was no urination, defecation, or vomit at the scene. The patient did not eat anything during that time. Serum and blood were leaking from the burned areas of the body. The area of the arm on which the cut down was performed was shaved. The hair probably fell to the ground. There was significant blood from the cut down site and from the subsequent insertion of the venous line, and some of the blood dripped to the ground. No one knows where the patient was taken. No video cameras were on the scene to film any aspect of the incident. The fire commander was present. He had a camera, and he did record what he saw. The patient is described as being about 7 feet tall, give or take a few inches. Marty does not give a weight estimate. Equine odor. Most of the body is covered by brownish hair about 2 inches in length. No gray hairs are evident. There are no mats noted on the coat. There is an odor about the patient. It is not an especially obnoxious odor. Marty calls it a natural odor, but he had a hard time describing it. He said it was similar to a strong equine odor. The head is not sloped. The forehead is heavy boned. The large lips, but human-like. The ears human-like and tight to the head, with an earlobe attached, not dangling. The patient is strong-jawed. He could not remember the color of the eyes, but though they might be brown. The head is about 2 times the size of a normal human head. There is hair on the face, but not on the palms or soles of feet. Great bulk. There is great bulk to the patient, but there was no fat. He said this observation of a form of the body did not match with that film with the one running in the woods, and he called that film a probable hoax. The hands are about 1.5 times human size, 5 fingers with opposable thumbs. The fingernails are thicker and heavier, and one was chipped. The feet are large, 5 toes on each foot. No evidence of fractures, injuries, arthritis, or deformation. The sexual features are those of an uncircumcised male matching human anatomy. Marty made the comment several times that these are not monkey or ape features. He felt he is in the presence of a very human-like creature. I asked him to return to the scene and search for the hair from the shaved arm or even the blood that dripped on the ground. He said he has access to the area, but probably won't be able to return until after the fires are controlled. In response to Doug's plea that someone return to the site and search for blood and hair, evidence Marty reported back to him on the 26th of September. Dozer has turned it up. Nothing left. Word is there is still life. Location unknown. Believe within a couple of 100 miles. Later, Marty. Investigator. Doug concluded that the dozer work seemed to be a bit too convenient and was likely a cover story by Marty to explain away his inability to recover any physical evidence. Doug strongly suspected that the whole matter was a hoax on this basis, and that is where the situation pretty much ended. Precise detail. But investigator couldn't leave the case that easy, and further continues. It is my feeling that this person, Marty, was not lying, and this set of described events really happened. There is simply too much precise detail and a complete absence of error or contradiction. The report was dismissed as a probable hoax and never posted for public inspection. 3 years after the event, investigator dug up the old files on Battle Mountain matter and decided to try to send Marty an email message to see what happened. Less than 24 hours later, he was surprised to receive a reply. Not disclosed. I had almost forgotten about the event until now. I have not spoken due to the classification that was put on it. The patient was taken to a university or some hospital that was not disclosed. As for verification, well, other than my contact with you, I know of no one other than those that were on the scene. An affidavit was signed under Department of Interior and U.S. Forest Service as confidential under penalty of felony arrest and jail time. Immediate loss of government service rank, loss of retirement and benefits. Several meetings were held in reference to him I do respect his rights of life and will always be a believer of their existence beyond any shadow of a doubt, as seen with my own eyes, smelled with my own nose, and heard with my own ears. Native man, his image is still visible, as it was then, no monster, no animal, but a lineage of a native man. His trust in us to care for him, and recognize that harm was not meant when contact was made. Knowing that care would be given to him, I am sure that the Department of Interior knows where he may have been released. What more can I say? Specifics, features, anatomy. Well, stand in front of a mirror and think of a man's evolution. Investigator. I am left with two inescapable conclusions. First, Bigfoot does exist, and second, the government does not want us to know it. The big question that remains in my mind is why? I can think 6 possible reasons why secrecy may be imposed. Why big secrets is that the American government believes that people of North America are so unstable that they could not deal with the knowledge of Sasquatch really existing. Government paternalism. It is felt by decision makers in the government agencies that the public is somehow not ready to accept the stunning fact that Bigfoot-style creatures exist and at least one species of primates is comfortable ensconced in the forests of North America. Perhaps the justification for this arrogant position is derived from the Christian paradigm that humans are the sole heirs to the planet. The acknowledgement of other species so close to our own, even superior in terms of some sensory capabilities, would destabilize the Christian paradigm that currently dominates Western religious thoughts. Keep mysteries classified. Perhaps the government entities that we trust as protectors are really just as baffled by this matter as anyone. As with the UFO phenomenon, the knee-jerk reaction to government when confronted with a genuine and profound mystery is to classify the entire matter as a secret. This avoids the uncomfortable alternative of having to stand up and acknowledge that the people we pay to understand threats and protect us from them have no real idea what's going on in this particular realm. There is an axiom that may exist within government that boils down to, if we don't understand something, keep it secret. That way, no one will ever ask us to explain it. Number 3, love of secrets. People feel more important when they have secrets that must be kept. Government agencies, personnel need to feel their job is important, and having important secrets that must be kept serves to validate their work. Every branch of the government seems to have some kind of secret that must be protected, and it is no surprise to me that the land management agencies want a secret as well. Maybe someday they will even be called to Washington to brief the president or members of Congress on the big, important secret that public is not prepared to know. What fun for endangered species argument. If Bigfoot were officially acknowledged, it wouldn't be long before an injunction was issued and most timber removal from federal land was halted. It is held that environmentalists will immediately seize upon the idea, spotted owl style. They will then find a sympathetic federal judge who would issue an injunction that stops all logging and mining on national forests and rangelands, which qualify as Sasquatch habitat. While it is probably true that preservatationists would try to get the Sasquatch declared as a ultimate endangered species, there is one big but not so obvious problem with this whole line of thinking. Sasquatches are in no way endangered. They may be rare, but they are not endangered. On their own, they keep their numbers down, though I also suspect that most estimates of their numbers are also low. It is possible that recent increases in deer populations have also precipitated an increase in Bigfoot populations. They do eat deer meat, and that is a good thing because there are not enough other natural predators to keep deer herds in check. Deer populations have exploded lately, and we should hope that there are Sasquatch in this world, or we are soon to be absolutely overrun with deer. Bigfoots do not seem to require virgin, old-growth forests. All they seem to require is a food source and a place where they can be left alone. Short of clearing all of the forests away at once, I, for one, would strenuously argue that Bigfoots are in no way endangered by forest policies, and there is virtually nothing we can do to reduce their numbers, even if we set about to do so. The Wilderness Act of 1964 and subsequent amendments to it have ensured the fact that Sasquatches will always have a safe haven. Number 5, national defense. As previously stated, we will only be able to understand why the public is being denied availability information of Sasquatch when we know more about the creatures and their capabilities. Since the information will not come from government sources, we are going to have to find out for ourselves. We already have a good deal of information that suggests that all of these senses of these creatures are more acute than our own. Not only is their sight, hearing, and smell more acute than our own, but they quite likely possess a sensory capabilities that we absolutely lack. They can project a rancid smell, much like a skunk, and the smell is so overpowering as to nearly incapacitate a person. This capability alone suggests a tactical military value. In better understanding the Sasquatch, I am told that the military is already researching tactical use of overpowering but non-toxic smells. Other possibilities relating to national defense and tactical military value may not be as far-fetched as they first seemed. Infrasound has already been discussed as a concept with tactical military value. The fact that Sasquatch possesses infrasound capabilities seems likely when it comes to mental viabilities that we humans do not have. It probably does not end there. Every researcher I know who has been successful in putting themselves near a Squatch has mentioned a sixth sense that the creature seems to possess. I have tried to quantify this matter to the best of my ability, but to attempt to quantify such a speculative matter is futile at the present. And last, 6, genetic research. The final possibility centers on the fact that Sasquatch may be human ancestor of such a close lineage that their genetic makeup offers the most intriguing possibilities for genetic research and crossbreeding that has ever been considered. Sasquatch may be the enduring descendant of Homo erectus lineage that is generally considered to be extinct. Neanderthal man, Homo neanderthalensis, by way of Homo heidelbergensis, is another distinct possibility. If either or both of these human ancestors endures today in the manifestation we call Bigfoot, then the possibilities for interbreeding and other genetic experiments with humans become either intriguing or alarming, depending on which side of the ethical question one stands. The investigator's final words are this bleak conclusion. How tragic, yet how predictable it is that the government denies the public access to knowledge of a living human relative, an anthropological bombshell, and one of the planet's most remarkable beings. The link to where I found this is in the description below. Sometimes the scientific end is better than the encounters, because that's what really gets my mind thinking. And I'm sure the majority of you have thought about those 6 conclusions that were mentioned at the last part of that research. So, scary, if you think about it. I mean, the governments all around the world are already working with genetic breeding and chimera testing, developing this and that. Wow. That's crazy, you know. That is just, it's scary. But you know darn well that if and when the government gets their hands on a Sasquatch, which they did obviously, and can obviously anytime, there's some fucking mad scientist somewhere doing some crazy shit, which I don't think is cool at all. I think what we should do is just leave them be. If they mess with us as humans, we put them down. Unfortunately, I hate saying that, but you know, or try to come to some, I don't know, pact with them like the natives did. But then you're gonna have one bad soul, and something that powerful and intelligent, you really don't need one real bad one in the public, because just imagine how terrifying that would be. Definitely cool. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, and with that, I'm gonna bid you farewell.